Hello friends, Jennifer Pearson here, this little gypsy. And today I was not looking forward to mowing my lawn, but I needed to do it, and I was in line to do it, but I hadn't checked the weather. I had not checked the weather, so I sat down to do 2 of my love readings. And toward the end, even though it was lightly cloudy, it wasn't very cloudy. Pretty much in the middle of the first one that I was doing, I heard storms. I heard storms going out there, and claps of thunder, and we've had a downpour, and it's like, okay, well, then I get to scrap mowing the lawn. Unfortunately, I can't escape mowing the lawn. I'll just have to do it on a different day when the grass will be even longer yet. In any case, it has left me with a moment where I just felt like doing something other than a love reading. And I had this spread that I wanted to try. I belong to the American Tarot Association, and they have a Tarot Reflections newsletter. And Terri Clement provided a spread in that newsletter, and it's called Getting Through Burnout. And I thought that was great, and I wish I had seen that. I wish I had been exposed to that. If I'd known of that spread, I don't know, maybe 6 months ago or so. I really don't feel that burnt out now, but I feel like I could still use some pepping up, some I don't know what you'd say, realignment, something like that. But I feel it a little less career-wise. Certainly I don't feel it in terms of my tarot reading, but I do teach, and I think it's just part of teaching to go through periods of burnout. But happily, I'm actually in an upswing right now. But I thought, but life in general, it's like, yeah, I could probably stand to do this spread. So I'm going to share it with you. I'm not going to put the questions down in the information box below the video, because I don't know, I'm just not sure, even though I've given you her name. If I put her name, I'm not sure where that stands. I suppose I should contact the people at the American Tarot Association and see what their thinking is. But I'm just going to go through the questions and pull a card, and I've decided to use my Enchanted Map Oracle deck by Clement Reed rather than a tarot deck. I thought, you know what, I haven't taken out my Enchanted Map for a while, and I love my Enchanted Map deck, and so maybe that alone will help inspire me. Okay, so the first one is, why am I feeling burnout? Why am I feeling burnout? And how do I want to do? I want to do poppers? Do I want to do I want to spread them out and choose a card? I might want to do that. Let me see. This is really what my favorite is. I would love to have, and this card is talking to me. I would love to have a big table. I do have a big table, but it's in my kitchen and it's full of other things. And I can see this is going to be card number 2. I don't even know what the question is. All right, so let's look at cards number 1 and number 2. So the first question is, why am I feeling burnout? Why am I feeling burnout? The wishing well. Why am I feeling burnout? Well, I could see that here. If you feel like you've been tossing, or I've been tossing. I don't know that I have been. A lot of, I could see this in terms of my health. A lot of coins down the wishing well and not getting any result. And I can't say that I'm not getting any result, but I can't say that any genies have appeared either. So maybe that's the issue there. The wishing well. Why am I feeling burnout? Because I've been throwing my coins down wishing wells without feeling like I'm getting any, not getting noticed. You don't necessarily get a reward, but you hope to be at least noticed by the genie. Number 2, what can I change? What can I change? I think probably my attitude. Oh, goblins. Oh my gosh, I got the goblins. What can I change? I need to face the goblins and walk past the goblins. So, in other words, I just need to get through it. What do I need to change? I need to just walk on. I just need to walk on. Step over the goblins and move on to the beautiful meadow that's behind the goblins. So let's see. Question number 3. How do I do it? In other words, how do I get past the goblins? How do I get past the goblins? I know that this was just the next card, but I'm going to choose this one. Oh, into the unknown. So blindfold. This is how I get past the ugly buglies. I just blindfold myself and stumble forward on into the unknown. Well, I often say that the Fool is one of my favorite cards of the deck, and that I identify with it strongly, and so there you go. I need to engage my Fool energy and just move forward through it. I still feel like it's... So what's the next one? 4. How do I restore my energy? How do I restore my energy? Oh, coming to life. It's funny because it's like the cards are defining, or in this case, it's like the card is practically defining the question. How do I restore my energy? Just come to life. Burst forth. Break through barriers. It's kind of similar to the goblins, really, because the goblins is about just moving past perceived obstacles, and this is breaking out of any kind of rigidity, any kind of perhaps preconceptions of what I can and can't do. So yeah, coming to life. So beautiful cards. Right. So that was how do I restore my energy. How do I reduce stress? Ooh, Ghostlands. How do I reduce stress? This is a card about being in the here and now, and you know what? I have long been sort of resistant to meditation. It's not that I have anything against meditation, but I just get so relaxed I fall asleep, sort of thing. But I think that this is, don't live too much in the future or the past is what this is saying. That the Ghostlands in this deck would be living in or for the future or living in or for the past. So I need to kind of examine, I think, if I've got goblins, if I've got goblins from my past or goblins for my future that I need to let go of. And again, if we're talking about health, that's certainly true with my Lyme disease. So maybe letting go of some assumptions about what is going to continue or what is possible, and I think meditate to relax. I need to meditate to relax. Before I used to think that I needed to meditate to clear my mind, and I think actually my mind clears itself quite readily and hits 0 again. So it was always like, why am I doing this? It's just putting me to sleep. I have no... And I know that if you're falling asleep during meditation, you're not quite doing it right, but I just never was motivated to continue. But I do have tension issues now, and I know part of my problem as well is tension or inflammation. And so I feel like this card is calling me to revisit the practice of meditation and the relaxation aspect of it. I think this is going to be my next card. So how do I reduce, what can I do to feel inspired? The gentle gardener. I need to nurture my projects. I just need to nurture my projects, watch over them. And I think this is also about, I think, celebrating successes. Celebrating, you know, as I'm watching over my various projects coming to fruition, I need to celebrate when they do. Looks like a kitty coming, that's incubating one of the eggs, as well as fairies, you know. And I think this is also calling for positive expectations that good things will happen. Now, it is the gentle gardener. If I think about literal, I think it's a snail. That gray thing is a snail. I don't know. Maybe it's a combination of creatures. Being the gentle gardener, you might think that it is actually advising me to garden. But because of my health issues, this very spring, eliminated my flower garden. I eliminated it. And because of my animals indoors, I don't do flowers indoors. I don't do porch plants because my porch is like an oven in the summertime. And, you know, I could maybe do cacti, cactuses out there. But I just don't. I'm bad at maintenance, and so I walk past them, I don't think about them, etc. So I really think that this is not actual planting in an actual garden. I think this is my garden of delights. It could be, you know, these little eggs could be all of the decks I've gotten recently, and sitting down with them, incubating my decks. I've gotten a bunch of folders so that I can go through some of my new decks and become more familiar with them, and go through them and just, you know, like one of the decks I got recently is Fractal Tarot. And what I did with the Fractal Tarot is, and this was a really cool exercise, so if anybody has, I don't even know, because I got it in a trade, I don't even know how much it costs. I know it's from Game Crafters, but I don't know what it costs. But to get this deck, and of course the cards are all assigned to your traditional tarot associations, but, you know, it didn't sit right with me, so I went through the entire deck and I reworked all of the images. You know, there are some of them that maintained their meaning that was assigned to them by the deck creator, but a lot of them didn't. And so over a series of a few days, I laid them out, you know, and they're totally abstract. So, you know, there is nothing saying, you know, to the deck creator, this was the Six of Cups. To me, this is the Fool. All right? So I'm going to have to figure out, certainly I'm going to have to trim it, etc. But, you know, how am I going to remember that this is the Fool? If I don't work with this deck for a month or something, or 2 months, or I don't usually let a deck go that long, but without handling it in some regard. But how am I going to remember that this is the Fool, this is the Magician, this is the Empress, this is the High Priestess, this is the Empress? I have them now, right now, according to my my feelings about what they are. To me, this is the Emperor, and to the deck creator, this was the Queen of Swords, and I can also see that. This is the priest, the High Priest, and this I kept the same. I like this. To me, this is like the woolly, woolly masters, the dancing woolly masters is a totally different take on the High Priest. And to me, to the deck creator, this was Justice, and to me, it's the Lovers. So anyway, so this is an example of one of the decks that I need to sit with and really sink into and remember and memorize. Why is this the Fool to me? How does it speak to me? What do I really get out of this image? And then I also have a deck, a new deck that I got in a trade, that is the Hubble Space Images. And so that, again, is one that I'm really going to have to sit down with and say, how does this image speak to me? The Wildwood Tarot also, I'm going to have to sit down and really look at that deck. And there's a lot. The Shapeshifter Tarot. How do I, what part of the mythology is going to be most important to me? How do I remember the mythology of those cards, etc., etc. So I'm going to be doing a lot of that, and so I think that's part of the Gentle Gardener. In terms of what can I do to feel inspired, that's part of that project. My decks do inspire me. I've got a great set of decks right now, and eventually I will do a deck collection video, although I don't have a lot that are super unusual. But anyway, there you go. I've rambled. And before I go, let me run down those questions again. So this is the Getting Through Burnout spread by Terri Clement that appeared, to me at any rate, in the American Tarot Association's Tarot Reflections newsletter. It was the spread of the month. 6 cards. Number 1, why am I feeling burnout? Number 2, what can I change? Number 3, how do I do it? Number 4, how do I restore my energy? Number 5, how do I reduce stress? And number 6, what can I do to feel inspired? All right, everybody. Thanks so much for joining me on this little interlude and spread exploration. Take care. Bye-bye.